What size jar should you sell your honey in? Hello, I'm Griff Rees. Welcome to Gwenyn Gruffydd. Here we talk everything beekeeping, farming, countryside living, and we do reviews as well. Now today something a bit different. We're in the studio here and I want to talk about the size of jars, or the jars that you sell your honey in specifically, and talk about the pros and cons of the different sizes. And if you're just new into beekeeping and you're thinking about starting to sell and market your honey, then this video is going to be a must watch. Let's get into it. So this is the size of jars that I personally sell my honey in. I sell larger volumes as well in plastic buckets, etc. But on this video, I want to talk specifically about jars. And I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up to the largest size. So there's a reason that I sell my honey in all these different sizes, because a different market or audience purchase these sizes. The same person buying the kilo jar isn't necessarily buying the 28-gram jar. And I'm going to talk about that in this video. And with that, we'll start with the 28-gram jar. Now, this has been brought onto the market for a specific reason. One of the biggest markets is the wedding favour market, where someone's getting married. Normally, they leave a gift for all the guests and visitors, depending on the size of the visitors or people attending the wedding determines what size jar they go to. But normally people buy the 28-gram jar for wedding favours. It's a lovely gift, it's a lovely favour, and it fits well within that market. Any other size, you're going to struggle to go into the market, into the favour market with those size jars. We have sold some of these 5 ounces as wedding favours before, but hands down 90% of the wedding favours honey we sell is sold in these mini jars. Now, another reason I bought this jar onto the market is the breakfast table menu. So we sell into cafes, delis, restaurants, etc. And when you think of the breakfast menu, when you go into a restaurant, someone wants a slice of toast, they bring out the marmalade, the jam, and now they've got Welsh honey available as well. Very, very important, the breakfast market. A large amount of honey is consumed at the breakfast table rather than other meals going throughout the day. So why not have a specific honey jarred up for that commercial market? Next up is the 5 ounce. This is a 142 gram, and again, does work as wedding favours, but not likely. But this works really well if you're selling honey into tourist shops or you're in the tourism area. People visit your area, they want to buy something local to take back home with them. They don't necessarily want to eat the honey themselves, but they want to give it away as a gift. A jar of honey this size comes into that market perfectly, suits that market very, very well. And another thing I'm seeing a lot more of now, we're selling a lot more honey into food hamper companies, where they're making these food boxes up and they're posting or mailing that to you. I'm seeing a big surge in those companies, especially buying honey with us. And this 5 ounce jar fits lovely into the smaller size hampers. So if someone's making, I don't want to say budget, or the smaller of the size hampers, then the 5 ounce fits into there quite nicely. Doesn't knock the price of the hamper up too much. Fits in really nice there. Next size up, very popular size amongst beekeepers. It's the 8 ounce jar. I'm seeing more and more beekeepers now selling honey in the 8 ounce jar. They're leaving the 12 ounce behind and they're selling honey in the 8 ounce jar. That's becoming very popular amongst beekeepers. Now, I don't sell my honey in the 8 ounce jar for the vast beekeeping market. I sell that in the 12 ounce. But again, the 8 ounce fits lovely into a larger size hamper. So this size jar is great for those types of honey when we're talking borage or heather. there isn't that much of that available. So when you're selling that in a smaller size jar, it lasts a bit longer and you can reach more customers. So the next size jar is the 12 ounce. This is the 340 gram. And when I started selling honey 10 years ago, this is the size jar that I sold my honey in. And even now, this is still the best seller here at Gwenyn Gruffydd. We sell more 12 ounces than any other size. And there's a very good reason for that, but I'll get into that at the end of the video and why I'll recommend the 12 ounce jar for you to sell your honey in. And last on the size jar is this, well, bad boy, big boy, whichever you want to call it. It's the 1 kilo honey jar. And I bought this to the market this year specifically because more and more people are buying a 3 kilo bucket of honey with me now. They're going for the value for money. The more honey you buy, the cheaper that honey is per kilo or per gram to buy. So if you're buying honey down here in the minis, the price of honey per gram is more. I got to buy more lids, more jars, more labels, more labour to put the honey into that jar. And there's a lot more glass volume per honey, which does affect the price of the honey itself. So price per kilo honey down here is up there. Price per kilo per honey on the bigger size jar comes down. So it's better value for money the bigger the jar. And like I just mentioned, when you buy in a kilo jar of honey compared to the 5 ounce, you know, you've got to manufacture almost 9 glass jars, 9 lids, 9 labels, all that labour to sell honey in this size jar, where this is just 1 label, 1 jar, 1 lid. This is the greenest and most sustainable way of selling honey. There's a lot less wastage selling honey when there's less packaging or jars around it. Hopefully that makes sense. I know that's a bit confusing, but it's just there's less material in this 1 kilo jar than the equivalent if you were to add any of these up to make the same volume of honey. And the reason I bought it out was more and more people were then asking me, I don't want to buy the 3 kilo bucket because that just takes too long to go through, but I'm finding I'm going through the 12 ounce too quick. And they wanted something in between. And I thought, well, why not sell honey in a 1 kilo jar? And it's proved to be a really good seller. This is probably the fastest best seller that I've got at the minute. Still nowhere near selling the same volume as the 12 ounce, but this is definitely, if we were to look at a graph of how fast I'm selling this honey, it's a direct line up. So I'm thinking, and you know, other food manufacturers have seen this and done it. Peanut butter used to be sold in a small jar. They sell it in a massive jar now. Jams, marmalades, they used to sell in a small jar. They're now selling in a big jar. Those guys spend a huge amount of money on market and research. If you're seeing these big guys changing the way they sell their product, there's always a reason behind that motive. And it's a good idea to look at what they're doing. And if what they're doing is working, then you try and copy it and bring in a competitor into the market because you don't want to be left behind. So that's the sizes that I sell my honey in. Now, back to the main point of this video. What size jar should you sell honey in? Well, I'm going to make some assumptions here. You're a small-time beekeeper, so you can't afford to buy a pallet of every size because that's going to be thousands of pounds, and you want to sell honey at a good price and you want to get that main middle market, which is the bulk of the market. So the 1 kilo, that's just going to be too big. If you're only producing a couple of 100 kilos, you're going to sell out too quick. The minis, the market isn't big enough there for someone starting into the industry. The 5 ounce is neither here or there because you're never going to compete against these two sizes in the shop selling that size. So it comes down to these two, the 8 ounce or the 12 ounce. Now, there's no real right or wrong answer here. These by far are the most popular sizes beekeepers and bee farmers now sell their honey in. Now, if we look at the 8 ounce, your turnover is going to be higher selling the 8 ounce. And you're going to be selling more jars because less honey fits into there than in there, quite obvious. Now, just because your turnover is going to be higher doesn't necessarily mean your profit is going to be higher, because you've got to buy more jars, more lids, more labels, more tamper proofs, etc. on this size compared to the 12 ounce size. Now, on the 12 ounce, your turnover is going to be slightly smaller because you're selling less jars, but you've also got less labels, less labour, etc. putting the honey in these jars. But it comes down to this. Let's look at a shop, let's look at a competitive retail outlet. Most shops that sell honey from several different suppliers. Now, let's, for example, think, if this is a competitor's honey and this is yours, and they're both on the shelf next door to each other, same kind of honey, just different sizes. Now, because the 8 ounce sells for almost the same price as the 12 ounce, which one do you think someone's going to buy? They're going to buy the 12 ounce, hands down. And there's a reason that this is the most popular size honey that I sell, even though that I offer the 8 ounce for sale. Give a shop or a trade outlet the option, which one would they stock? 99.9% of the time they buy the 12 ounce when they look at the price. The pricing here is just too close. And the reason for that is the lid, the jar, the label, etc. on the 8 ounce almost cost the same as the 12 ounce. And you're only talking a little bit of honey difference. But that little bit of honey difference makes a huge competitive edge when it comes to selling your product. Now, one of the reasons I think my honey sells really well on the shops and on the shelves is because a lot of people now are selling honey in 8 ounce, where I'm still pushing the 12 ounce. Compare them next to market. If there literally is only £1 difference there between these two sizes, they're going to pick the 12 ounce every single time. And that's why, if you were to ask me, now this is a personal thing, some people might disagree, I would say to pick the 12 ounce. Because you don't want to be looking at your business or market short-sightedly. Look at it at the bigger picture. If you can get into a lot more shops, gain a lot more following and supporters and customers because you're selling honey in the 12 ounce jar, and that is better value at the end of the day for the customer, they're going to buy the 12 ounce over the 8 ounce. Now, they might have been buying 8 ounce for a couple of months, couple of years, bang, bring the 12 ounce into the market. Before they know it, they're buying your 12 ounce jar. And I think that is the best way to get into the market when you're starting out. For me, it's the 12 ounce jar. But don't just take my word for it. Look at what the bigger suppliers and packagers are doing, and not just at the honey sector. Now, I spend a lot of my time when I go to supermarkets, I look at the big brands and I notice what size jars are they selling their products, or what size cans are they selling their product at. How are they trying to dominate that market? How are they trying to compete? Because you've got to think, those big guys are spending millions of pounds a year on research, development, and how to bring the next product into the market. If those guys are not selling honey or jams or marmalade in the smaller size jars, and they're going for the 12 ounce or higher size, there's a reason for that. Marketing or buying habits are changing, and they are adapting their product to fit into that new way of buying. And from my own personal view and experience selling honey over 10 years, I am seeing that as well. By far, that's the best seller, even though I sell these as well. And this big boy is climbing that ladder on popularity, because when you're selling honey to repeat customers, why would someone buy an 8-ounce jar? If they're going through that every week, they're going to want to go into the 12-ounce. But why would they be buying the 12-ounce if they're going through that in about 2 or 3 weeks? It's better value for them to keep going up the jar size and keep buying a bigger size. Because at the end of the day, when you grow in a business, the way I look at it, don't look at the profit. Don't look at how much money can I get out of this. I want more money, more money, more money. That's not how you do it. The way you grow your business is you serve your customers with a fantastic product, which is good quality, good value, and they will appreciate that they're buying from you. They don't feel ripped off. They're happy with the service. They're happy with the product, and they are happy with you offering them a cheaper alternative for the same volume of honey. Yes, that jar costs a lot more, but the price per kilo is a lot less. And that is how you grow a business. That is how you retain your customers. Because I promise you, it's a very competitive market out there. You're not only competing against other beekeepers with honey, but you're competing against the jams, the peanut butter, the marmalade. All those guys are competing for the same market, and you've got to make sure that you've got a competitive edge. And the best way to get that edge is offer value for money as well as high quality. When you combine those two things together, high quality, value for money, and there's a little bit there for you as well as a business, because let's be honest, we've all got to make a profit to grow the business. But hand on heart, that's how I think you should do it. And if we're going to go down to one size, that's where you want to start off with the 12-ounce. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video and I've given you food for thought. And obviously this video is based on my experiences and my views. Other beekeepers or food suppliers might disagree with my motive. I don't think they will, because I spend a lot of time looking at the supermarkets and what the big guys are doing. And don't forget that trick. Next time you go into the supermarket, take a look at the shelves. Take note of the jar sizes. What type of jars are they selling it at? What price range? And just look at the branding, the marketing, etc. You can learn a lot from these big guys. They've got millions of pounds worth of budget. I haven't, but I can watch what they're doing, and there's no reason that you can't do the same. Well, that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And don't forget, if you like this video and you want to watch more of the same kind of content, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I try my best to upload a new video every week. Thanks for watching.